So hello guys, welcome back to the channel. So in previous video we saw the machine learning modeling for diabetes data. In this video we are going to see the exploratory data analysis, that is EDA, on known defaulter dataset. Once again, this is a project which I am doing as part of the internship provided by a startup named Crispmetrics. So as we all know, known defaulter dataset is a dataset which is available in Kaggle publicly, and it has two types of datasets. One is application data and one is previous application. In this video, we are going to perform EDA on the first dataset, that is application data. So without wasting any more time, let's get into our EDA. So here I am importing the necessary libraries, NumPy and Pandas, and the file upload libraries. As I've already told you in the previous video, I'm running this notebook on Google Colab because of recording purpose. So here visualization is a very important part in EDA. So from matplotlib import pyplot, then cbond, then plotly, and even cufflinks. Cufflinks is mainly used to connect pandas and plotly together. So this code over here, it is a code to render the offline mode for plotly. Normally plotly plots the plots. Nice one, huh? So normally plotly gives the plots online, but cufflinks enables offline mode so that all the plots can be shown here in offline. Even if we download the notebook as HTML, we can see it. So here this line, why I'm using, because normally plotly plots won't be visible in Google Colab. It will be visible only in our local Jupyter notebook. So by using this one, first we import plotly.io as pio and pio.renders.default equal to Colab. By using this, we can plot the plotly plots in even Google Colab. So next are the feature engineering libraries. Here we are using feature engineering so that we can clear all the inconsistencies in data. Normally we use feature engineering for feeding the data to the models, but even for analyzing the data we need to clear all the inconsistencies present in the data. So we use feature engineering as well. For this purpose we use the famous library called feature engine. I'm not sure whether you all know it or not, but it's a library which was introduced very recently, which contains all the necessary feature engineering codes, feature engineering features like missing data imputation, categorical variable encoding, and then numerical variable scaling, and then outliers handling, and then discretization, and then transformation. All of the features are contained within the single library. Even sklearn also has several features, but the features in feature engineering are very flexible. So that's why we use this. Before proceeding further, we need to first install this feature engine because it's not available in Google Colab. So that's why I've written this command pip install feature engine. So there might be several imputation techniques and there will be several outlier techniques also. So for ease of use, we will be enclosing all of these in a scikit-learn pipeline. So let's run this code. Okay, so here, as I already told, we are uploading the Google Colab content. This time I'm uploading it directly from my drive, from Google Drive. So if I click this one, it will directly go to the account. Just click allow and copy this code and then paste it over here. After basic, then click enter. It will proceed further. It will show mounted at G drive. Now feature engineering is getting downloaded. Alright, so all the required libraries are imported. So we can see here the following packages were previously imported in this runtime. You must restart the runtime in order to use newly installed versions. Stats models we are not using here, so we need not restart this runtime again. So let's proceed further. First we load the data. First we set the path to where the data is stored. Here is stored in a folder named Kaggle application data. After running it, we can get this. It's a huge data, so it will take some time. As we can see, there are 3 lakh site yes 3 lakh 7,511 rows and 122 columns. It's a very huge data, so it will take a lot of time for analyzing this. Let's go. And the first step, splitting into categorical and numerical variables. There are 106 numerical variables and 16 categorical variables. Now let's see the summary statistics. You won't understand it in the initial thing. As we dive deeper into the analysis, we will be able to understand. So info, that is the data type of each of the column. Well, we can see a lot of int objects and floats. Floats are many, ints are also few, even objects are also there. Now let's see the number of null values in this data. Wow, there are a lot of null values. As we can see, this is very minimal. 65%. Wow, 65% null value. 31, 56, 50, 58, 48, 66. Wow, there are several variables where the null values are more than 50. Now that's not at all desirable, right? Let's see how many variables have null values. 67. So 67 variables have null values out of 112. Okay, so let's see how many variables have null values greater than more than 35 percentage. So how many is it? 49. Wow, out of 67, 49 variables have null value percentage more than 35. Now that's something. Now let's make a plot also. Here I am using iplot. This is the plotly plot. We can see if we go over here, we can see how many null values are there. For common area average, there are 214.865k. That is, wow, nearly 2 lakh rows of empty data. That's definitely a lot of null value. As we can see, I've used the function iplot. There is another functionality of plotly which will connect it to pandas using the cufflinks function. Now this definitely would affect our analysis a lot. It will take a lot of time, so it's always better to drop such columns, because having a lot of null values is not at all desirable. We can drop these. So here more nulls dot index. Here more nulls means what? Yes, more nulls is our null value percentage more than 35. So we'll be dropping these values. So after running this, our null values are gone, and now we are having only 73 columns. From 112, 49 have gone. Now there are only 73 columns. So let's look at the remaining. Well, it's ARW. Nice. We need to check for the spellings also. No need to check, but we need to be careful, because if we are submitting to the higher level, it should be perfect. So let's see. So there are 18 columns that still have null values, but still it's okay. We can process this. This is the highest one with 31%. Others all are very negligible. Here is 19, here is 13, and the remaining and all are less than 1%. So that's a very good thing for us. We can find a suitable imputation technique, and we can impute these variables. So now let's analyze each of the variables and check what we can use to impute. Let's see the statistics. So now we can replace these values with the median 24903, because the mean and median are quite close. So we can choose the smaller value 27108 and 24903. So we can impute it with the mean safely. Median means the 50% over here. So there are very many variables, like 18 variables, and scrolling up and down to check which variable should be imputed what with what value. We'll just create a data frame where we can store all the columns and its imputation technique. Now we can see here's a column and its imputation method. For all I have set as default as median, but as we move into our analysis, we can see which variable should be imputed with what value. Okay, so first one is done. Next one is amount goods price. There are 278 null values, and the statistics, it shows something else. For this also we can impute it with the median, but still it doesn't show a proper value, like it's showing in form of exponents. So what we can do is where is it? Yes. So what we can do is empty goods price dot in, and the same we can do for the median. So 538,396 and 45,000. So 45,000 is the median over here. Still the mean is very high, which means there are a lot of outliers in this variable. If there is a lot of gap between the median and mean, it means there are outliers. So safely we can proceed with imputing with the lower value, which is the median. So it's the default value, so we can leave that data frame as it is. Name type suit. Here value counts. We can't use describe on this variable because it's a categorical variable. Describe can only be used for numerical ones. So here there are a lot of null values, 1292, that is less one only, but still we can impute it with the mostly occurring value, that is unaccompanied. So we'll be replacing this one with the method of frequent. Name type suit as frequent. So occupation type, here also the null values are the most, we can impute it with the most occurring value, that is laborers. Okay, here this is also done. In CNT fam members, this is also a numerical variable. We can impute it with the median, because here mean and median are also close. So median is a proper value because it is a count variable, so we can impute it with median. External source 2, here there is a difference between the mean and the median, small difference only, but the lowest value is mean. Here we can see mean is less than the median, so we can impute it with the mean. Okay, we have replaced this one. Then external source 3 also, even here the mean is less than the median, so we can use mean imputation. We have replaced this one as well. Now ops 30 CNT social circle, I don't know what this means, but let's see how many variables it has. So here median is 0, mean is 1. So 0 and 1, it might be not much of a difference, but it is still a difference. So it's better that we replace this with 0, that is the median value. If the difference is high, then it means there are outliers, so we can impute it with the median. Def 30 count social circle. Here also the same, we can impute it with the median value. The same here as well, we can impute it. Now let's move for the next one, def 60 count social circle. It might be very boring, but still we are doing this for our analysis purpose. Here the same, median is 0, so we are imputing it with 0. So next, amount required credit bureau hour. Here also the same, median is 0, mean is also 0 value only, but still we are imputing with the smaller value. The same for the day 1, the week 1, and the month 1 also, and the quarter 1 also. But here the values are slightly different. The median is 1, the mean is 1.89. So here median value is 1, so we can impute it with 1. Okay, now we have imputed all of the we have decided on all of the imputation techniques for most of the variables. There are a few more variables we'll be seeing further. Here, error value. Now if we summary statistics, let's move on to the summary statistic first. Okay, it won't be here. Data analysis. Now if we see, where is it? Yes, days birth, days employed, days registration. We see that the minimum value is in negative and the maximum is also negative value. So there is a lot of negative values. So these values we need to clear first. So days birth, let's see. Here the sum I have used for totaling the values. First we need to clear these, replace these negative values into positive ones. Days employed, then days registration also, the days ID published, days last phone change. This variable has null values also, so we need to find a suitable imputation technique as well. So what is the median? 757 and the mean 962. Not much of a difference, but still it is a difference, so we'll impute it with the median just like the others. And some variables have XNA values. I have already analyzed this. Let me show you as well. Code gender. XNA means it actually refers to null. So there are F and M. Other than F and M, there should be nothing in gender. But XNA, it means a null value. So we can impute it with the most frequently occurring F. We are adding a code gender and making it as frequent. Then organization type. Even this has XNA values. So we'll impute this with the most occurring type, that is business entity type 3. Same here, we have added organization type and frequent. Let's analyze other variables also, whether there are other XNAs or not. There is no XNA here, not even here, and here also nothing. Here also not there. Here also not there. Then here also not there. Here also not there. Here also not. So only code gender and organization type had XNA values. So first we need to correct these error values. In error value correction, our first step is converting the negative values to the positive ones. So negative columns are days birth, days employed, date registration, days ID published, and days last phone change. So these 5 columns have negative values. We are creating a copy of the original one so that our original data frame does not get affected. So here we can see df of error of negative columns is equal to abs of the same. This ABS function will return the absolute value of the argument. Absolute value means if it is negative, it will convert into positive. If it is positive, then also it will give positive only. So after, if we see the describe function, there are no more negative values. Now that's a good one. Now let's replace the XNA with NaN, because if we replace it with NaN, it would be easier for our imputer for identifying the NaN values and replacing it with them. See, here we have replaced XNA with NaN. Here also we have replaced XNA with NaN. Okay, now let's proceed to our missing value imputation. Here we are creating a imputation pipeline. So num mean imputer, that is replacing the numerical variable null values with the mean of that variable. So here imp method is that variable in which we had stored that data frame, for which variable which method should be used, like that. So here imputation method equal to mean, we need that variable. Here median, num mean median imputer, for those variables which we had decided the imputation method as median. And categorical imputer, here mean median imputer is one of the functions of feature engine. Categorical imputer is also a function of feature engine. Imputation method equal to frequent and variables. So those variables which has frequent as the type, we are replacing those values. So after creating a copy of the data frame, we fit and transform this data frame and process it. So our data frame has been processed. Now let's see what are the values. So these are the mean values which he had decided. These are the median values. We can see there are zeros, so that's the values which he decided on. And for the categorical one, see, as we had decided, F, unaccompanied laborers and business entity type 3. So now the imputers have imputed missing values just as we have discussed. Let us check whether there are any more null values. So there are no more null values in the variables, and let's see the count. The count is also 0. Nulls of count greater than 0, so that's 0. So there are no more null values. Now outlier analysis in this. So outliers is one of the most common problems in any data. Let's see. So outliers mostly would be existing only in numerical data types. In categorical, there won't be any outliers. So if we see, so these are the variables which have a possibility of having outliers. So let's see the summary statistics of these variables. Now let's see, this is the minimum value, this is the maximum value. We can see there is a lot of difference between them. You can see 4.5 raised to power 4, 4.05 raised to power 6. That's a huge difference. Here the minimum and the maximum value is also very different. You see the maximum value and the minimum value. There's a lot difference is very huge. So first let's see how it is seen as a box plot, because box plots are the best techniques to find out any outliers. So we can see nearly all the variables have outliers over here. This guy, external source 2, and day's birth and day's ID published, they don't seem to have any outliers. But just by seeing, we can't decide on anything, right? Let's dive deeper. And this one, this is for creating the univariate plots. Univariate analysis we are doing here for seeing the distribution of a variable. And here statistics. There are several variables for which the summary statistics is given as powers, exponents. So those also we need to have a clear value. First let's move on to the first variable. There are 25 variables for which there are outliers. So we need to analyze each variable. So here, count of children. The outliers lie above the upper whisker. So we can replace it with the third quartile value. Third quartile value is the upper value in this one. This is the upper whisker. This is the first quartile. This is the third quartile. And the median should be existing in between. There would be a line, but still there is no line over here. Let's see. And the distribution, most values are zeros. And then it comes here, then comes like this and goes down. So here we can replace it with the third quartile value, that is 75%. That is 1. This is the value which is 1. The remaining values are outliers, so we are treating it as outliers and we are replacing it. So here also we are creating a data frame in which the column name and the value to be imputed are done. Here we are replacing the first one, that is CNT children. Where is CNT children over here? CNT children. We are replacing it third quartile. The remaining we are setting third quartile as default, but we'll change it as our analysis proceeds further. So amount, income, total. Here 0 seems to be only value. The remaining values are all outliers. Here also we can replace it with the third quartile value, which is 75%. Here we can see into 10 into as exponents of 8. So this also we are replacing with third quartile value. For amount, credit is the same. We are replacing with the third quartile value because all the outliers exist above the upper whisker. Here the third quartile value is 88,650. Okay, it's definitely less than the maximum, considerable one, so we can replace it. Then amount, annuity. The same thing over here also because all the outliers exist above the upper whisker. Then amount, goods price, also the same. Then region, population, relative. This one has only one outlier. So if it has only one outlier, then we can replace it with the third quartile value itself. Then days registration. This is one of the variables where we replaced all the negative values with positive ones. Here also the same technique, replacing with the third quartile value. CNT fam members, count of family members. So there are a lot of outliers. Here also we replace the outliers with the third quartile value. Then external source 2. So as we saw in the initial one, there are no outliers for this variable. So it's safe to discard this one and there is no need to further process. And the distribution is also quite nice one. It's a neat distribution. So we can just delete this column out of that. Then external source 3. Now this one, for this thing, the outliers exist below the lower whisker. You can see there is a series of dots over here. The summary statistics, you can see the minimum value is 0.005. So we can replace it with the first quartile value because the outliers exist below the lower whisker. So we replace the external source 3 with the first quartile. Where is it? Here. We replace it with the first quartile. So this one has outliers above the upper whisker, so we replace it with the same third quartile value. The same would be for this thing, these guys, def 30 count, then op 60 count, and the def 60 count as well. All of these have outliers above the upper whisker, so we replace it with the third quartile value. Now amount required credit bureau hour, same, replacing with the third quartile value. Here also the same. The same, once again the same, here too the same. Here the box plot is quite different from the ones we saw before, because it's the year one, the consolidated one of the others, and the distribution also seems to be nice. A distorted one, but still a nice one. Okay, we replace it with the again the third quartile value. Count of children, the same, replacing with the third quartile value. Day's birth, this guy doesn't seem to have any outliers. All the variables are distributed evenly, all the values are distributed evenly, so we can just drop this from our data frame where we are deciding upon the imputation technique, I mean the outlier replacing technique. Here also the same, all the outliers exist above the upper whisker, so we replace with the third quartile value. Now days ID publish, even this variable doesn't have any outliers, all the values are distributed evenly. We can see in the distribution plot also, so we can drop this also from our list. Then our appraisal process start. This has outliers in both directions, above the upper whisker and below the lower whisker. So for the outliers above the upper whisker, we replace with the first quartile value, and for the outliers below the lower whisker, we replace with the third quartile. What am I saying? I didn't remember what I said just now. What I was saying was, for the outliers above the upper whisker, we replace with the third quartile value, and for the outliers below the lower whisker, we replace with the first quartile value. So here third quartile value is 14, first quartile value is 10, so we can replace it with them. So our outlier processing is done, outlier analysis is done, and univariate analysis is also done on the numerical variables. Now let's handle these outliers. A feature engine library has a function named Winsorizer. Winsorizer is a outlier handling function which replaces with suitable technique. So here capping method is IQR. IQR, we know the difference between the first quartile and the third quartile, and the tail is left. Left means the lower whisker. Lower whisker means we need to replace with the first quartile value. And here the same one, capping method is IQR, tail is right. Right means the upper whisker. That means we need to replace with the third quartile value. Third quartile value are the ones with the most, and lower and upper whisker, both of them. Tail equal to both. So after transforming the data, let's see what our Winsorizer is used. External source is used the first quartile value, the upper whisker use the third quartile value, and this one use the first and third quartile value, 4 and 20. So let's now check the distribution altogether. Now we can see we have handled all the outliers. Now there are no more outliers seen. Now but we can see there are some variables over here, this one, this, which have complete zero values because we replaced all the outliers with zeros and there are no more other values, but still it is an aggregate. There is a cumulative variable over here for quarter, month, week, day, hour. There is a year, there is a variable for year as well. So it is safe to drop these variables because it would definitely affect our data analysis. So these are the zeroed columns and we'll drop these columns. So now there are 66 columns altogether after our processing. Now let's proceed further. Now we move into univariate analysis of the categorical variables. So first we divide the data set based on our target. Our target has values as zeros and ones. So we have created two data sets with target as 0 and target as 1. Now let's see the gender distribution. We can see where target is 0, that is non-payment difficulties, and where target is 1, that is payment difficulties. For target as zeros, there are a lot of values with F. There are a lot of females and there are few males. Let's check for the payment difficulties, that is target 1. Here also the majority are females and the majority are males, but still there is an increase in the number of males than from this case. So okay, this is a nice one. So now name income type. Here also there are a lot of income types. Here working is the most one, followed by commercial associate, pensioner and state servant. For the target 0, now let's see for target 1. Here working is more than the others. The majority is also the same, but still working professionals are more in name income type. So now family status. In family status, here married are most. Here also married are most, but there are more married ones in this non-payment difficulties than in the payment ones. Now name education type. Secondary schools are most. And here also secondary are most, but there is a lot of increase. Here it is 70%, here it is 78%. So it's definitely more increase there. Here for housing type, here living in house or apartment are more, and here are a little bit less than here, but still it's not much of a change. Contract type, cash loans and resolving loans. We see that there is an increase in the payment difficulties than in the non-payment difficulties. Now name type suit. You can see for non-payment difficulties there are 81% of accompanied, unaccompanied, but here 82%. There is not much of a change here because it's 13 and 12, 3.6, 3.7, very marginal change. Now for organization type, business entity type 3 are the majority ones, as we have already imputed them. Here also majority ones are here, but still there are no major change to be observed. Let's proceed further. Whether they own cars or not, that is also a factor. The ones who own car are more, so there is an increase for applied for loan payment difficulties. Now on reality, the analysis goes like this itself, because we need to check each and every variable, what each one says. Here 69%, 30%, 68 and 31. Still no major change over here. Occupation type. Occupation type, laborers are the majority over here as well, but still there is not much change in these two plots. Now weekly appraisal process start. Here also laborers are the majority, but still there is still no major change. Both of them look the same. Now for the bivariate analysis, we are comparing two variables altogether. Here is count and here is the percentage of loan payment difficulties. Here what we have done is, for each variable we are checking the count of the income type and the percentage of loan payment difficulties. We can see there is a increase because we are comparing each variable with the target for income type, and this is the target depending on the income type. And for contract type, cash loans and resolving loans, here also cash loans and resolving loans. So cash loans have maximum of loan payment difficulties, that is target is equal to 1. So education type also, here secondary or secondary special occupy the highest count, but loan payment difficulties are more in the lower secondary one. Occupation type, here laborers have occupied the most, have the highest count, but low skill laborers have the highest count of payment difficulties. Code gender, females occupy the most, but males have the highest percentage of loan payment difficulties. In car owners, non-car owners are the most, and they also have the percentage of loan payment difficulties, those who do not own the car. Then realty owners, here realty owners have the most in count, but non-realty owners have highest percentage of loan payment difficulties. Here those who have accompanied are the most in count, but other B, other A, all of them have equal distribution of payment difficulties, with other B as the highest one. Family status. A family status of married is the highest in count, but civil marriage and single and not married have equal chance of loan payment difficulties. Housing type, those who have their own house or apartment have the highest in count, but those who have rented apartment have the highest percentage of loan payment difficulties. That is natural, no? Those who have rented, they will only face a lot of difficulties. Then appraisal process is the highest on Tuesday and the highest in loan payment difficulties as well. Okay. So organization type, business entity type 3 is the highest in count, but transport type 3 has the highest loan payment difficulties. So now bivariate analysis of categorical variables is done. So now let's check for the numerical variables. This would be completed in few minutes, few seconds. This is for the target 0, where the non-payment difficulties. Now we can see the distribution is quite even for each of them. Let's check for the other one, the target 1, that is loan payment difficulties. Okay, so here also it's evenly matched like this one. Let's see for the heat map to understand the correlations better. So here we can see amount credit and amount goods price. These have the highest correlation when compared to others. It's 76%, here it's 98%. For the target 1, target 0 also the same case. 98%. Okay, so all of our analysis are done. We can conclude that there is a huge correlation between amount credit and credit amount and goods price. We can see here also amount credit and amount goods price have a straight correlation. Others all have uneven distribution. So that's all for our EDA. So in this notebook we have analyzed the data, now number of numerical and category variables, and also the summary statistics. Then we have identified the errors in the data, that is that our negative values and XNAs, and corrected them, that is converted negatives into positives and XNAs into nans. Then we have identified the null values, that is our nans, and imputed in with suitable techniques, that is median, mean, or frequent. Then we have analyzed the outliers and handled them effectively using our Winsorizer from Feature Engine. Then we have performed the univariate and bivariate analysis on the numerical and categorical data and have found out several insights, like which two variables have the highest correlation, and then which one has the highest percentage of loan payment difficulty when compared to the others. Then also the percentage of each variable, percentage of each category within each variable based on the target. We have analyzed such things. I know EDA is quite boring, but still it is a very important task as a data scientist and a data analyst. We need to provide meaningful insights from our data so that we can create a proper report and send it to our superiors. So guys, that's it for this video. I hope you liked it. So please like the video if you loved my content. If you didn't like the video also, please support me by liking it. It's a request from a data scientist to data scientist or data analyst to data analyst. Please drop your comments in the comment section below. What can be improved? Of course, my communication and my delivery is something to be improved upon, and I'm still working on it. But other than that, on the coding part, on the analysis part, is there something that I missed or is something that I overread? Please mention in the comment section. I'd be eagerly waiting. So once again, thanks for watching my video, and I'll see you real soon in the next one. Till then, take care and thanks for watching.